Hi guys, my name is Christine and I'm a dating, relationship and personal development coach. And today I'm talking about what if a girl wants to chit-chat online. Okay, so I've said before, when it comes to dating, when you first start getting to know a woman, it's best to keep the chit-chatting over online messenger to a minimum. And the reason why I say that is because there can be a lot of miscommunication, things can get misconstrued, lots of misunderstanding can happen. And the best way to meet, to really get to know someone is in person, because you can read their body language, you can read their vibe. Because, you might be chatting, you could be chatting online to a woman that you really, really like. But because you haven't met her in person, you don't actually know if you really do like her. She may look beautiful in her profile pictures, but you never know when you meet up and you start actually hanging out physically. The chemistry might not be there. There could be a lot of things not going on that feel right to you. You don't know that until you actually meet up with someone, right? And basically, because when you're just talking to someone online and you're not meeting them in person, it plays into fantasy, basically, because you don't know what it's actually like to be around this person physically. You don't know what it's like to hang out with them physically, to live with them and things like that. You don't know that until you actually start hanging out with them. When you're talking to someone over Messenger, you're getting a different version of them, shall we say, because first of all, you're only going by their pictures from what they look like. Secondly, people can tailor their communication when they're talking to someone online, right? So they can, figure out the best words to say, that kind of thing. Whereas when you're with someone in person, it's much more spontaneous. And you get to see firsthand who this person really is, because it's very, very difficult to hold back who you actually truly are when you're in person with someone. So there's a couple of things there why you need to be meeting up with the person that you're into, right? Especially if you don't know, if you've only ever known them online. So let's say you met on a dating app. If you knew them from work, then you probably already know, or school, then you probably already know them a little bit, which is fine. But if it's someone you've met only online, then you definitely need to meet up with them, okay? But even if you do know them in person, it's still not a good idea to just chit-chat online. You should be using Messenger and WhatsApp and whatever you're using as a tool to meet up, right? You should be using it as a tool to make plans, right? As opposed to getting to know each other. Again, because there can be lots of miscommunication. So that's what I've said before in the past, right? And also I've said before in the past to leave gaps between dates. So for example, let's say you arrange to meet up on Saturday, but today is Monday, and basically you keep contact to a minimum in between now and Saturday, unless obviously she reaches out to you and starts a conversation with you, right? So I say to keep that at a minimum. And the example that I use a lot is how I met my wife. Like, we matched on Tinder, and within the first evening of matching, I had already set up a date with her, right, for that Saturday, which was about 5 or 6 days in advance, right? And in between that time, I didn't say anything to her unless she spoke to me first, right? And that's what worked for me. And then we went out on that date. It went really well. And then after that date, I waited, 4 or 5, I think it was 5 days, 4 or 5 days, but I'm pretty sure it was 5 days, until I asked her out again. And between that time, there was radio silence. I didn't message her. And that's how it stayed for like a couple of weeks. And then when she started to warm up to me, she became less shy, and she became more sure that I was into her. That's when she started reaching out to me more. But as you can see, like, I kept it to a minimum to begin with, and it worked because I didn't want to chit chat with her online over online messenger, because I've had some pretty bad experiences with doing that sort of thing where you're only chatting and you're not meeting up. So what do you do then if a girl wants to chit chat with you, right? What do you do if a girl, is making it clear that she just wants, like, she sends you loads of messages, which is fine, which is good. It's good if she's sending you lots of messages, because it shows that she's really interested in you, okay? But what you don't want to do is you don't want to ignore those messages, all right? Just because I say, you got to keep contact to a minimum in between dates, and only use Messenger as a tool to meet up, I say that. But you should never ignore a message from a girl that you like, who is, let's say you've set up a date for Saturday and she messages you on Wednesday saying, hey, how are you? It's okay, obviously, to respond to that and to have a little conversation, right? As long as it's a little conversation, right? So let's say it goes something like this. She says, hey, how are you? You say, I'm great, thanks, how are you? She says, what have you been up to? And you can say a little bit about what you've been up to, like, oh, I've just been at work, just had, been to the gym, whatever it is. What have you been up to? And she'll say, oh, I've done this, I've done that. And then you say, great. Well, it's great to hear from you. I can't wait to see you on Saturday. I've got to go. I'll talk to you later. Right, and if, for example, she starts not liking this, the fact that you cut the conversation short, and she basically isn't happy. She's like, why do you always cut the conversation short? The first thing that you need to do is you need to say, oh, I'm really sorry about that. I'm just really busy. But, I'm not really a fan of getting to know people online, like over Messenger. I prefer to get to know you in person when I can give you my full attention. Because right now I'm busy with work, I'm busy with these other things. I have to go to the gym, I have to sort this thing out. I've got this project I'm working on. But I really can't wait to see you. But I'm just not a fan of messaging online too much, because I think there could be a lot of miscommunication involved. And if you put it across like that, like you're happy to hear from her, but you can't wait to see her, but you're not a fan of getting to know each other online. If a girl, a woman, whatever, has her head screwed on right, she won't mind that, right? She won't mind the fact that you are not a fan of chit-chatting online too much, right? She will appreciate the fact that you've been honest, and she should also like the fact that you've said to her something like, I'd prefer if I could give you all of my attention when I see you in person on Saturday for the date that you've arranged, right? She'll appreciate that, okay? But also, you got to make sure that you have a date arranged, okay? Because, you see, like, I see a lot of people, they're chatting with the person that they like online, but they're not arranging anything, they're not meeting up, right? And if you're a guy watching this, then usually the girl is waiting for you to actually start to get the ball rolling and to arrange things, right? Usually women aren't that courageous to do something like that. Some women are, but usually most of the time they are too timid or too unsure to create the plans. And usually women can be a little bit indecisive about different things anyway, so they would much prefer it if they had a man who was decisive, who is a leader and says, hey, why don't we go here at this time at this place? Because sometimes women can get overwhelmed with the different options. That's why it takes, like, for example, my wife, it takes her an hour to get ready. She has to go through like 3 or 5 different outfits to get ready, whereas it only takes me about 15 minutes to get ready, right? Some women are like that. Obviously, there are also some women like me that are not like that, that can be much more decisive. But the majority of women, especially if they're very, very feminine, are going to take ages to decide on different things. So it's better for you to come up with the plans and to facilitate the plans and to initiate making plans, right? Because it's going to take a woman a lot longer to get to those decisions. And she'll love you for it. She'll love the fact that you've made a decision, right? And said, hey, how about we meet up at this time at this place? She'll love that, right? Okay. So make sure that you've already got that in plan, because the reason why she might keep on reaching out to you and wanting to chit chat with you is because she's trying to get your attention, because she wants you to make a move and, ask her out and arrange a date with her, right? But if a girl doesn't like the fact that you are a bit short, and when I say short, I don't mean that you're cold, I just mean that you cut the conversation short. If she doesn't like that and she just wants to chit chat with you, and she gets angry with you or butthurt about the fact that you would prefer it if you just talked in person, then she's not the right girl for you. There's something wrong there if she is getting angry at you or passive aggressive at you for not wanting to chit chat, okay? Especially if you explain to her in a really nice way, like the ways that I've suggested, by saying, I can't wait to see you, but I'm just not a fan of communicating online because I feel like there can be a lot of miscommunication. I'm not really a big fan of it. Also, I'm a bit busy and I'd prefer if I can give you all of my attention when I see you. If you say it like that, she won't mind. If you say it like that and a woman does mind, then you need to figure out whether or not you should actually continue pursuing that woman, okay? So that's my advice on that. If a girl wants to chit-chat with you online, but you're trying to keep it to a minimum because you know from watching my videos or watching other coaching videos who have similar ideas, that's not a good idea, okay? So keep it to a minimum, right? If she doesn't like it and you've explained to her why in a nice way, then she's probably a Fruit Loop and you don't want to engage with her anymore, okay? So thank you so much for watching. If you'd like to get in touch with me personally and you would like to have coaching with me, then please go to www.christineloveridge.com. Thank you so much for watching, and I shall talk to you again very soon. Goodbye.